HP for that huge basic Pokemon. And Isaac Milaski here is going to be playing a Buzzwole Lycanroc deck, a deck we've seen a ton of this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, that's been popular. It's pretty much an adaptation of a standard format deck with a couple of new tricks in there. The VS Seeker, a little bit more. Not everyone going that way with it. Certainly some adaptation. You can make the Muscle Band, things like that. But in general, it's pretty much the standard format. It's like, I can't be bothered to sleeve some new cards. Let's just chuck this in.
It is really similar to the standard deck. Basically, throwing a computer search in here, you get Colress and Muscle Band. That's about it. Isaac not even playing VS Secret in his list. It doesn't look like. Yeah,
I assumed they were in there. I was like, no, there's a variety of supporters.
And looks like
not.
Looks like we're getting things started here. This is definitely an interesting matchup. It'll be interesting to see how Isaac approaches this. Both of these players, this is actually their first top 8s. I was speaking to both of them before this. So these players were, kind of new into the top 8 scene. Both won their top 8 games, so definitely feeling a little, more calm after winning that top 8 game, headed here into top 4.
Yeah, there's certainly a little bit more pressure that comes with the top 8. You do have a little bit more time to play out your game, an extra 25 minutes added onto those timers, up from 50 to an hour and 15, but Wailord has notoriously been tough to take down. Honestly, Buzzwole is known for dealing big damage, but I don't know if its numbers, without hitting for weakness, of course, ever really hit 250.
Yeah, and we see Butch coming out here using that Steven, a supporter card that lets you search your deck for a supporter and an energy card. He actually does play one energy, didn't get it there with Steven because he has it in his opening hand already. So uses Steven. I believe he found a Skyla, and he can use that on the next turn to get a Tropical Beach in play.
Yeah, look how happy that Wailord is. Just looks so pleased with itself, being able to sit there and absolutely tank up damage. But by the by, that one energy giving away what that maybe potential Pokemon is in there of the Xurkitree GX.
Yeah, absolutely. For anyone who may not be familiar with this Wailord deck, it's quite unconventional as opposed to other Pokemon TCG decks. You don't attack with it, you just sit there and draw and pass and disrupt your opponent. You play cards like Team Flare Grunt, like Enhanced Hammer, Max Potion, AZ and Acerola, cards that let you heal your Pokemon, cards that let you disrupt your opponent's side of the field to get rid of their energy cards. And the goal here is to eventually win by decking your opponent out.
Yeah, your opponent literally runs out of cards. It sounds silly when you say it, how can you? And it's not something we see that often anymore. But Wailord really plays off that and assumes that that's going to be the case.
Yeah, and Butch has had a lot of success at this tournament, as we can see, making it into the top 4. This is a deck that, has seen a little bit of play here in the past few months at the last few expanded regionals. Had some success in Dallas and Utah, I believe, as well. So it's definitely a deck that's still been around and expanded, but overall not something we see all that much. And that Xurkitree GX you mentioned is definitely usually really strong in a lot of matchups. Lighting GX lets you, for 1 lightning energy, look at your opponent's hand and put a card they have there into their prize cards. So usually pretty strong, but in this matchup, I think Butch is really going to avoid benching that because that Xurkitree GX is actually weak to fighting. And Isaac has lots of basic energy cards, so he can definitely take a knockout on that, despite that Flashing Head ability, I believe, is the ability that keeps it from being damaged by special energy.
Yeah, he's got the basic energy in there, so he can just make sure there's always a Buzzwole available for that. Going to be able to see if there is an option to take those knockouts, but as you say, probably just going to avoid it for the duration of this game as he gets all the Wailords down.
We actually see Skyla here going for a Tropical Beach, a Computer Search. I was expecting this to go for a Tropical Beach, but Computer Search here can get Butch any 1 card out of his deck. It'll be interesting to see what he decided to go for here. Maybe going for like a Crushing Hammer to get rid of that energy on the benched Buzzwole. But he could have just Skyled for that, so it's interesting to see what he actually got there.
Yeah, he does grab a Tropical Beach, so that's going to replace the Brooklet Hill.
Yeah, and Beach, of course, a very expensive, very hard to obtain stadium card. This was given out as a promo for the World Championships in 2011 and 2012. Hard to get your hands on nowadays. It is still very played in the expanded format in some of these decks like Wailord. It is played in some Stage 2 decks from time to time like Gardevoir GX in the expanded format. Hard to get your hands on, but the effect is so powerful. Draw until you have 7 cards in your hand, and then your turn ends.
Right, that's, all you really need to be doing there. You're not attacking, so why not just end your turn by drawing up to 7 over and over again?
So we see a Jet Punch coming out, applying a little pressure here on Isaac's side. He can maybe get a Knuckle Impact KO, maybe an Absorption, but we're going to see some Disruption coming out. Enhanced Hammer plus Team Flare Grunt completely stripping that Buzzwole of all of those energy cards. And we'll probably just see a Tropical Beach once again, drawing Butch into more of those Disruption cards that he plays.
Yep, played one card, drew one at the beginning of turn, so just draws one with the Tropical Beach. As Buzzwole's probably going to be able to find a way to attack this turn, but, you know, tools like that, depending on how the Buzzwole's powered up, when Butch gets to the point in the game where he's puzzled the timing, he's grabbing 2 cards back out of his discard, you know, his hand's never going to really run short, then he can just grab what he needs to make sure the Buzzwole can't attack him again, particularly if you're getting close to the end of the game. It's going to be hard to keep that Buzzwole, the pressure up on the Buzzwole.
Yeah, and we see Isaac here playing a Colress, only going to draw 3 cards off of this. Usually we see Colress being used to draw multiple cards, but Isaac doesn't mind doing this because Butch does have that Tropical Beach in play. Isaac can definitely just end his turn by using Tropical Beach, drawing his hand up to 7, and he'll be totally content with that. And we'll see if he gets any energy, and if he does, I don't think he'll necessarily even attach them right now.
Nope.
Wants to wait to attach them until he's going to use them.
So let me ask you a question, Chip. I had this discussion with Jeremy Jallin in Costa Mesa. We were talking about Colress. It was an expanded tournament. And at what point, what number of cards do you think a Colress becomes like a good Colress?
You know, I think whenever you can get more value out of it than something like a Professor Sycamore generally is pretty solid, although Professor Sycamore does have more value as far as, you know, discarding cards. That can be really good, you know, interacting with discarded cards in your discard pile. So generally, you know, usually you see a solid Colress for 6, 7, or 8. That seems like a pretty good value out of Colress to me.
You don't shoot for the stars, you don't go for like a 10, a Colress for 10, get a Skyfield down, Colress for 16.
You know, ideally, you can definitely use Colress to that sort of effect. As someone who's played a lot of Mega Ray in my time, I definitely have used Colress for 16 multiple times in my life, so I can definitely appreciate that. But
yeah, did you see some double puzzle action, getting back 2 enhanced hammers, one of which has been asked to leave play?
Yep. And we see a Team Rocket's handiwork there. 2 coin flips there for each heads that Butch gets. Discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck, so does hit an energy card. That is going to be huge. And Isaac here does run a copy of Super Rod, so he has ways to get energies back. But, man, this is just, it feels like such an uphill battle for Isaac this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if he really wants to power up one of those Buzzwoles to deal the big damage, he's going to struggle because the amount of disruption. Try and get that damage buff with the strong energy, that's going to get enhanced hammered off.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, you could try and add it all up, but you still can't get to the 250, and then we're just going to come to a point in the game where Butch is just hitting max potion and all as well.
And we also have seen, from the last turn, Butch does play Rough Seas in his deck. Very good against those Trevenant decks that were really popular this weekend. Butch did actually just beat a Trevenant in top 8, so I'm sure that's a matchup he would have loved to have seen again here in top 4. But Rough Seas actually coming in clutch against Buzzwole as well, healing that damage spread by Jet Punch.
Yeah, that's really nice. I mean, once you got to a point where, I mean, I'm pretty sure Butch has over 7 cards in hand right now with the amount he's been pulling back. You know, he's in a good position to... doesn't need to be tropical beaching, so why not get the Rough Seas? Mm-hmm. Then he can just keep healing up. So the Buzzwole is literally forced to do more than Jet Punch.
Yeah, and while these Willards do have a lower amount of damage on them, you know, you don't really want to use something like a Max Potion or an Acerola to heal 50 damage, right? It kind of feels bad. You want to maybe save that for whenever there's a bit more damage built up there, so Rough Seas can be really nice for that specific scenario. We see Isaac here using Computer Search. I believe he got a Max Elixir. This could potentially be a big turn. I think he has a... Floatstone in his hand. He could really go off, and if he hits a bunch of elixirs here, could get an Absorption GX KO on this Buzzwole here. You know, Absorption does 40 damage for each prize card, so that should be enough there to knock out the Wailord.
Well, 40, the prize card is 240. One of them would need to be a strong, or he needs to pull out Diancie Prism Star.
He does actually have 20 damage on the active Wailord, so would be able to get there on the active this turn. We'll see with this elixir. I actually think he has 3 max elixirs, at least 2 in his hand. And so we'll see if he can hit both of these. Here's the Beast
Energy. Can't elixir that. Oh, there it is.
Definitely nice. And we see another card there in that max elixir that he saw. Beast Ring, a card Isaac is not going to be able to play in this entire matchup. Beast Ring only activated when your opponent is at 4 or 3 prize cards remaining. And Wailord, of course, a deck that doesn't take prize cards. So because of that, Isaac won't be able to access Beast Ring.
Yeah, there's going to be 3 dead cards in his deck for sure. Really not going to be ideal there in Isaac's situation. Another Max Elixir. He sees the other Max Elixir in there. Looks like he fails that one.
That is a big whiff from Isaac. Definitely unfortunate there. Would have been able to get a KO here on this Wailord, and if Butch can find a Rough Seas, that'll force Isaac to try to find something like a Strong Energy on the next turn to get the KO.
Right, the Rough Seas is going to be harder to find than the Tropical Beach. He only plays 2 of the Rough Seas. One's in the discard, so he either needs a way to grab that one back, or try and figure it out another way. He does have access to a number of ways to get things out of the discard, though.
Yeah, he's got Puzzle of Times in his deck. He's got the Lucamine that lets you get stadiums out of the discard pile. Also has Skyla, could just use that to potentially search one out of the deck. So we're just going to see a pass on Butch's side, actually. That's that's typically what we see Wailord doing to end their turn.
Yeah, if he's got no Tropical Beach to draw from, no point really going for it any other way. We are going to see the Brooklet Hill from Isaac, just seeing what's in that deck. Looks like there's sort of 2 basic energies in there. Probably a few more.
Yeah,
it's not near the top for Elixir.
I think he was about to play a Tapu Lele GX. He just wanted to kind of use this Brooklet Hill to check to see what supporter options he does have available to him. And not going to bench anything here. You want to avoid benching too many Pokemon, I suppose. Don't want to have something get brought up to the active and stalled out for the game.
Right, you just got to be a little bit cautious with it. But benching something will mean anything like a Colress becomes a little more valuable if he does decide to pull that back somehow. But overall, Tapu Lele for Sycamore kind of helps Butch. He's going to discard his hand, draw through another 7 of that deck, and going to keep on going through without getting anywhere close to knocking out these Wailords.
Yeah, and there is a lot on the line here in this top 4 match. Both of these players have already guaranteed themselves at least $1,500 here, but if you get to the finals, $2,500 goes to second place, and the winner of this tournament will take home $5,000. That is a lot of money to go home with.
Yeah, that's certainly nothing to be sniffed at. But, it's got to be frustrating seeing your chances of moving up a minimum of $1,000 blocked by the whale.
It certainly seems like Isaac's chances of that $5,000 are dwindling by the pass over on Butch's side. Butch is going to draw for turn here, uses Nest Ball. We'll see what this opts for. We actually see an interesting card there at the bottom of his deck. Butch does play 1 copy of a Rangaroo from Ultra Prism with that resource management attack. Lets you put 3 cards from your discard pile onto the bottom of your deck. And, we see this from a lot of Wailord decks. They typically play 1 odd prize Pokemon, right? 1 Pokemon where if your opponent takes a knockout on it, they're still forced to deal with multiple Wailords in order to get the win. And we do see him get that Lucamine there. We'll be able to use Tropical Beach here, drawing himself 4 more cards, trying to get some more of those disruption cards, and probably some more healing as well.
Yeah, that's one of the big things. He's still left, though, with that Tropical Beach barely even lasts. Still left with that Wailord with 20 on it, so, the Absorption GX could get there. It's just going to be a little bit tight. That's sort of where it is, and even when you get through it, you're still looking at 2 more Wailords.
Oh, we see that Beast Energy Prism Star. That would actually let Isaac get there. Doesn't need the Strong Energy with that. And he can take this knockout here with Absorption, maybe doing a little math, seeing if he can get there with Knuckle Impact. It does not quite work, though. He's doing 190 damage right now with a Knuckle Impact. Maybe if we saw him get a Choice Band, that would put him up to 220, and if he got Dancey Prism Star, that would be enough to Knuckle Impact. But no, just going to go ahead and take that Absorption KO.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to start getting something going, haven't you? Can't just leave the Wailord up there. But now, his biggest way out to knocking out a Wailord is gone. You can only use it once.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was definitely the way to go about it. Do you see a Team Flare Grunt? This Buzzwell's back to Jet Punching.
Yeah, and we see that Beast Energy Prism Star hitting the Lost Zone. Isaac will not have access to that card anymore. See another attachment to the active. Isaac just needs to get some of this damage to stick in play so that later on he can use Knuckle Impact to take these KOs. And Butch is just every single turn going to be digging for things like Crushing Hammer, like Team Flare Grunt, and we'll see if he can make that happen.
Yeah, as long as he can keep those up and basically keep disrupting Isaac, Butch is playing at a pretty high tempo, which all things considered with the Wailord, I know you don't want to play overly slowly, but, you do want the first game to take a little bit longer. And fair play to Isaac, he's identified that. He knows that on each turn, it's just time to go. See what you can do. Right now, these 30 damages are sticking relatively well, but, you're going to need a couple more of them to get there with the Knuckle Impact.
So we'll see what Butch can do here. There is 60 damage on each of those Whalers. I actually misspoke. I was just looking back over Butch's list. He actually doesn't play any copies of Crushing Hammer. You know, Expanded is a format that's much more reliant on special energy. He does have the full 4 enhanced hammers, can get rid of energies with that. Team Flare Grunt, of course, can also discard basic energies off of your opponent's active Pokemon, so Butch can use that to discard basic energies. He's got Plumeria in this deck, so he does still have options to get rid of basic energies, but just choosing not to play any copies of Crushing Hammer.
Yep, he does Lusamine on this turn, getting the Rough Seas back. That's huge. Because, I mean, how many Brooklet Hills has Isaac gone through now?
You know,
as soon as he runs out of them, he doesn't have a way to get them back like the Lusamine. So this Rough Seas just means every turn the damage isn't going to stick.
Yeah, and Butch does have ways to ensure that he actually never decks out himself. That can be an issue in the Wailord decks of old. You know, they may get down to a lower hand size and get down to a lower deck size, and they could even find themselves in a scenario where they deck out. But thanks to that new Lusamine supporter that came out in the Crimson Invasion set, you're able to use it to get back any combination of supporter, two in any combination of supporter and stadium cards. So you can use it to get a Lusamine, get a stadium card, or get a Lusamine and maybe something like a Shauna that we see Butch plays in order to keep himself from decking out, to make sure that he always has access to cards.
Yeah, and he's got the resource management as well. Could be pretty fun. For those of you who can hear an alarm in the back, terribly sorry. That is a flood warning around here. Very appropriate with the Wailord on stream. It's I don't know if I described the flood warning as high breaching for 120 and 5 water energy. But something's going on outside, so sorry if you can hear that at home.
I can't believe we just heard that, but we know we'll continue on with this game here.
I don't think in the history of Wailord anyone has ever said high breaching for 120, please.
Well, you actually say that, I believe, actually in Worlds of 2015, I think Jacob Van Wagner, who won the World Championship, actually played one single copy of Wailord EX. Not sure that he ever used high breaching, but the theory in that deck is you can use it, send it up. I guess you would use high breaching, do 120 damage, maybe knock out something like a Shaman, and then it's really difficult for Night March to come back and take the knockout. So we have seen Wailord use it in the past, surprisingly.
Wild. There is going to be the max potion on the heavily damaged active Wailord. This one on the bench, still sitting pretty. I mean, now this Buzzwole is swinging with a choice band. It is going to be doing 60 a turn, so at least 30 of that will stick. But that's actually the first max potion Butch has been forced to play, so really nice for him. He does replace the Rough Seas with a Tropical Beach, just drawing an extra 3 to end his turn.
So we'll see here what Isaac does. Looking through his discard pile, so many energy cards already down there in the discard. It's just really, really tough for Isaac. I don't know that he's played his Super Odd yet, so that's going to be something he wants to keep track of and have access to. He does have a choice band on this Buzzwole, so he's like at least hitting for a decent chunk of damage, especially with DNC Prism Star in play. That Princess's Cheers ability is just so strong to add that extra damage, and I think that's one of the reasons we saw Buzzwole be so popular this weekend. It just got so many cool new cards out of the new set.
Yeah, I mean, this battle for the stadiums, I think, is now completely in Butch's favor. I was just reading over the list, and it's actually 4 Tropical Beach in there. So with the combination of going through Rough Seas and Beach, the Brooklyn Hills are gone now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There is that Super Odd we were just talking about, able to put back some 3 basic energy cards, so Isaac will have access to those later on, but Butch is just going to keep needing to draw those Team Flare Guns, keep needing to draw those enhanced hammers to get rid of things like strong energy, and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the Team Flare Grunts are that hard to get with access to the Lusamine. Being able to pull those back, Stadium when you need them, just going to keep that Buzzwole down. I'd be very interested to see, actually, how many energy end up in the discard for Isaac. There comes a point where he simply runs out of basic energy.
So we'll just have to see. I was actually just spending a little time looking up some stuff in the rules here. Just wanted to make sure I was totally familiar with how time works, because there is a scenario here where we could go to time, and either of these games, Wailord is definitely a very grindy, very slow deck. So if these players were to go to time in game number 1, if game 1 was to never finish, that is pretty difficult here. We have 75 minutes, and we already see the board state progressing a lot. But if somehow Butch is unable to mill Isaac out of cards by the time the end of game 1 would happen, Isaac would actually win this game because of the way the rules work. The rules state that if time is called in game 1, the player player with the fewest amount of prize cards remaining wins the match. And that would be Isaac in this case, and Wailord is not a deck that's ever going to take prize cards, so we're not going to see that happen.
Yeah, he needs to win game 1, and then, see how he can go about it in game 2.
Yeah, and then in game 2, if time is called, the way things work is if, you play out the +3 turns, if the player... if one player has taken more than 50% of their prize cards, so if a player has taken more than 3 prizes, so if they've taken 4 prize cards in this case, that player wins that game. So even if Butch wins game 1, then Isaac can just try to take 4 prizes in game 2, and then if we go to time in game 2, Isaac would be the winner of game 2 if he could take 4 prizes, and then we would actually set up for a sudden death 1 prize game, and that is definitely not very good for Wailord.
Yeah, Wailord does not want to play that one out.
And we actually saw that was the way that 2015 Nationals concluded. Jason Klaczynski, using that Seismitoad Garbodor deck, was able to, did unfortunately lose game 1, was able to take 4 of his prize cards in game 2, and then won the game in sudden death. So we might see if that's the same thing Isaac has to try to pull off here.
Yeah, he is going to be taking damage. The Robo Substitute gone. This Wailord on the bench is sat with 50 on it, though, so 200 needed to knock it out. May be able to get there, but just about.
Yeah, all he would need here at
He's
this
got the
point...
Diancie, and he needs the Strong.
Well, even just a basic fighting would actually get him there because he has the choice band attached. So he would need a fighting energy and a Guzma. Butch is definitely looking for like a Team Flare Grunt this turn. I don't know that he has access to one. I think he probably would have played it pretty quickly. He did heal the 30 off of the Jet Punch last turn. Counting the cards in deck, you see Wailord players definitely doing that a lot, making sure they know how many cards their opponent has left and what they can do to take care of that.
Right, making sure the counts are there, putting himself in a consistently solid position.
We just see a Tropical Beach. This could be a huge turn for Isaac. Does he get a Guzma? He has the... I don't see the fighting energy actually either.
A lot of the fighting energy have been discarded, which is something that, definitely needs to be followed up on. There's one.
He's got a lot of them at the bottom of the deck, I think
there was 3 in the back there.
Yeah, he's been counting them down there. He has played the Super Rod already, so he's put some of them that were discarded back in. So definitely a decent chunk of his energy's gone, and he's going to go ahead and use Butch's Tropical Beach to drop to 7 cards.
Yeah, he really wants that last one. I can see the VS Seeker here for the Team Flare Grunt.
And that is what Butch needed. This is going to really limit Isaac's options. Isaac would need something like a attachment plus a Max Elixir and a Guzma in order to knock out this Wailord now, and that is definitely pretty difficult to pull off. He has already played a few of his Max Elixirs as well, so might not even have that option available to him. I'm not sure that Isaac is going to be able to take his last 4 prize cards, honestly.
As soon as this energy runs out, if he's played his Super Rod, of which he only has the 1, he's never going to be able to power it up properly. And it's going to struggle.
It looks like Isaac does have that Guzma in his hand now. It comes 1 turn too late, I think, unfortunately. If he had that Guzma plus energy combo last turn, he could have gotten that knockout, gone down to just 4 prizes, but unfortunately didn't have that option. And we're just going to see the Jet Punch here dealing, 70 damage to the active. That's, actually 80 damage with that DNC in play and the Choice Band, able to, put a little bit of pressure on Butch, maybe wanting to find some of those max potions as well as his energy disruption cards.
Right, he wants to make sure this Buzzwole can't consistently attack, though. It's definitely gone through a number of resources to do that, but as long as he can, I think, weather the storm of this one Buzzwole, discarding the energy is definitely going to help. Then he's in a good position.
Yeah, actually looking at Butch's list, I don't at first notice any sort of like counter catcher or Lysander, anything like that in his deck that he could use to bring something up to the active deck and to the active spot and stall Isaac's deck out. So it doesn't look like he's decided to go with that option, maybe just relying more on the heavier energy disruption. And Isaac is getting a lot more a lot more damage in play here. Butch unable to find Ref Cs or any healing cards.
Right, he is going to be able to clear that off, though, yeah.
There goes all that damage. Sends a Robosub up to the active. Robosub, an interesting trainer card that we have here in the expanded format. You can play it on your bench as if it is a 30 HP basic Pokemon. It cannot retreat, it cannot attack, and it gets discarded if it's knocked out. But your opponent does not take a prize card for knocking it out. So it's just kind of buying a turn here for Butch. It does get to the discard pile, but, makes it more difficult for Isaac. Ooh, this is actually interesting here. Gonna use that Bloodthirsty Eyes to use Jet Punch here. Oh, thought it was a knockout at first. Not quite enough to take the KO, though.
190 down on that there Wailord.
It does knock out the Robo-Sub on the bench.
Only just made it there. Butch really wants to find a max potion this turn, I think.
Yeah, he's got so many options in his deck. I'm sure he's got access to something in his hand that can find him a healing card. He can use Skyla to find a max potion. He can, use Acerola or AZ. He plays 4 Acerola. He plays 3 Acerola, 4 AZ, and we see Skyla right away going for that max potion, which he also plays 4 copies of.
Yep, it's going to be taking all the damage off the board again, and so far, 25 minutes into this game, Issac's back to stage 1.
Yeah.
He's looking at, I'm pretty sure this was the exact predicament, apart from Issac's board is full of Pokemon, exactly where we were at the beginning of the game, 2 Wailords with no damage stuck on them.
So we see the pass on Butch's side. Over to Issac, not much happening, honestly, for him. Going to go ahead and just Jet Punch here. Does 80 damage to the active, 30 to the bench. I think we're going to get to a point eventually in this game, if Butch is able to keep this onslaught of energy removal up, where Issac just runs out of energy and he just has to draw pass until he eventually decks out.
Yeah, I mean, it looks roughly about 9 or 10 was my count there. There's 1 heads.
Ooh, 2 heads. 4 cards to the discard pile.
Ooh.
No energy cards. I think Issac is thankful to see that, but I think one of his ends did hit the discard pile, and that could be an important card. He does only play 2 copies of it, no VS Seekers, so once his ends are gone, he does not have access to them. I'm not sure if he's already played one. And you can kind of just tell by Issac's body language here. He is, I don't think he's really enjoying himself right now.
He does not look pleased, is how I'd describe that one. I will say, somebody who recently kind of got into the TCG and picked it up a little bit more, the Ace Roller clearing all that damage off.
Oh, only like 3 or 4 cards left in Issac's deck.
I was told that people who play Wailord hate fun.
Yes. No fun for them, no fun for their opponents. And Issac actually top decks an energy card. This is actually huge here. He will be able to Knuckle Impact, take the knockout on this Wailord. Goes down to just 2 prizes. He only needs to knock out this Wailord, and he'll actually be able to win this game number 1. But there's only a few cards left in his deck. Could Butch maybe hit a double heads on Handiwork here and potentially just win the game by decking Issac out completely right here?
Right, that's really what he's got to go for. He is going to look with the Gladion.
Yeah.
Something in there that he wants for this turn.
Yeah, maybe he didn't have a better supporter to play this turn. Maybe just wants to check. Maybe he knows something specific is prized. It looks like he grabbed a Puzzle of Time with it. That is definitely a good card to get out.
If he's got the other puzzle piece, he can go and grab all kinds of nastiness.
Absolutely. So he's going to shuffle that Gladium back into his prizes. And, it's going to stay there because you don't ever take prizes with Wailord.
Right. You've just committed some things to the prizes for the duration of the game.
Yep, Issac going to take a shuffle real fast of those prizes. It's kind of funny to see players, having to offer their opponent to cut their stack of prize cards, right? But
these 6 cards to shuffle up.
And we'll see what else Butch wants to do with this turn. Does he have 2 Puzzle of Time in his hand now? Looks like it.
Yep.
He could get access to some of the cards in his discard pile, but he, can't play another supporter this turn to remove energy. He doesn't have an item way to remove energy from Issac's side, so I think we're gonna just maybe see Butch hold off on that this turn. Maybe he'll play it in case he's worried about Issac maybe playing an N or something like that, getting rid of those 2 Puzzle of Times. I wonder if Butch has made note of how many Ns Issac has used and if he thinks Issac has access to any more.
I think the big thing here for Butch is mapping out exactly how the end of the game goes.
Yeah.
So making sure that whatever he pulls off the puzzle is going to benefit him next turn, or, make sure he's set up for future success.
So we're actually going to see the double Puzzle of Time here. Takes the Lusamine and the Lightning Energy. Butch here maybe is going to want to use that resource management on a Rangaroo. Doesn't mind giving up the 1 prize. And we're just going to see what Issac does here. Cannot attack this turn since he used Knuckle Impact last turn. So this Wailord is going to be safe from damage for at least this turn.
Yeah, and I think that Lusamine's a good pickup here because if he knows he's not getting attacked, as long as he can go grab something, then he can start grabbing the grunts again or the stadiums, and he's just really looking to map out the rest of the game, making sure that if he can discard another energy, then Issac may not be able to hit with Knuckle Impacts anymore. I think that would be the last set of 3 energy available.
Ooh, Isaac just played an Ultra Ball to look at his deck. There's only one card, I think, left in this deck. Butch could win with a Team Rocket's Handiwork here. We'll see if he has access to using one. We know he has the Lusamine in his hand. You, of course, can't use Lusamine and then get Team Rocket's Handiwork. So we're going to have to see. Oh, looks like there's a strong energy going on to the active. And we're going to see the pass over to Butch's side. Enhanced Hammer does get rid of that energy. And Isaac's just going to concede right here.
Yeah, Isaac knows. He hasn't got the damage.
Yeah.
It's just not available for him right there. So looks like we're going into game 2. Butch looks pretty pleased with himself. Isaac genuinely looks frustrated by that game.
Yeah, definitely not super exciting if you are playing against Wailord. It's kind of annoying. You have to, think through every single little small decision that you make, right? And it was definitely difficult for Isaac there. He got those knockouts when he needed them, but just wasn't able to take his last couple of prizes. We'll see what he can do to change his strategy in the second game. And like we mentioned earlier, all Isaac needs to do here is take 4 prize cards, and if this game does go to time while taking 4 prize cards, then these players have to set up for sudden death, where they each set out just 1 single prize card, and Buzzwole is just strictly favored in that scenario.
Right. There's no way that Butch doesn't have a way to get that prize card. It's just not an option for him.
Yeah. We could maybe see something like maybe Isaac is having to hope for something like a Xurkitree start on Butch's side. If he does start a Xurkitree, maybe he could get a cheap knockout there with like a Jet Punch by boosting it with things like Strong Energy, Choice Band, and Diancie Prism Star. That would almost certainly get there. So we'll see if that's the case. We see our judge having a little bit of fun. These guys are having to watch this game. Shout out to our judges this weekend. They've done a great job. We've seen a lot of gameplay errors resolved pretty quickly by these judges. We've seen gameplay errors prevented by judges being diligent. So great, very well run event overall, and definitely great judging by all of our judge staff.
Yeah, fantastic work by them, working with us, working with the players. It's been a fantastic time. I've been doing some number crunching.
Oh, yes. Doing a little math over here, Dawes.
Yeah, so basically, obviously we know that with the absorption, getting the knockout is very possible. It's 240 when you've got all the prizes, so you just need any of those boosts on top of it. But to get it with the Knuckle Impact on a completely undamaged Wailord, you would need a Choice Band, a Diancie in play, and 2 Strong Energy, without the Strong Energy being discarded by an Enhanced Hammer.
Yeah, so Isaac is certainly going to need 2 of those to stick in play, 1 of those to stick in play over the course of a turn without Butch finding one of those Enhanced Hammers. And that's usually what has to happen here. Sometimes in order to win some of these bad matchups, you have to get a little lucky. And thank you, Dawes, for that nice little math lesson that we had here.
Yeah. I mean, I do, but we talk about basically Isaac needs to just get 4 prizes, and we know he can take one with absorption.
Yeah.
So as long as the Xurkitree never makes it out, you've got to really reach to try and get that all set up.
Yeah, and he
no
was...
Xurkitree start, though.
Yeah, that is definitely... I'm sure Butch breathing a big sigh of relief in that instance. Isaac does start Sudowoodo. A little awkward. He can, find one of his float stones to move that. And, maybe that's not that bad. He can use Max Elixir to start powering up a benched Buzzwole GX.
Yeah, he can bring a Buzzwole out with his Brookler Hill and sit it on the bench to the point of really when it's ready to go. That's going to be the big thing here.
Yeah, it looks like he just has thrown that Buzzwole down on the bench. I'm sure that's what he's going to end up getting. Does have energy in his hand. We'll see if he attaches it here or not. Butch does have cards like Plumeria that can let him discard cards off of the opponent's or energy cards off of their opponent's bench Pokemon. But I think more than anything here, Butch is going to want to use Skyla to find Tropical Beach to start drawing cards.
Yeah, one of the options, I guess, for Isaac, thinking about it now, is what he could try and do is power up this Buzzwole, hit really, really hard with a Knuckle Impact, have another Buzzwole ready to go, potentially, and hope that Butch has the Rough Seas, or any way to kind of heal it up, trapped in the deck. The chances of that are very slim, but it's probably more, it's just as likely as being able to keep 2 special energy in play at any one time.
Yeah, definitely Isaac is going to have to find a way to get a little lucky in this one, I think, after seeing that game 1 play out. Max Elixir comes out. We'll see if this energy hits and if it stays in play. Looks like we do see 2 energies there in that Max Elixir, and we'll go ahead and get one attached onto Buzzwole. Isaac saying, hey, look, I'm going to go back in. Don't worry about shuffling my deck. So he has a Colress as well as an N.
Yeah, he's definitely thinking about it. It's going to be the... Oh.
Baiting it.
Oh.
Not sure if he wants to play it or not yet. You know, it's kind of an interesting scenario. Like, you want to play it and maybe try to draw some more cards and have a different supporter option for the next turn. But also at the same time, you know, if you play the end now, you're not going to have access to it later on in the game. And that's something you want to have access to. If you have a lot of cards in your hand, you have a thin deck size, maybe wanting to end to put some of those cards back and to keep yourself out of range of something like a Team Rocket's Handiwork or something like that.
Yeah, you need to make sure that there's an insurance policy against one of those kind of losses. It does go over, just 2 energy on a Buzzwole on the bench. Not too shabby for Isaac.
All right, we're going to see a Brooklet Hill come out. Butch can find a Wailord EX with this, which is great for Butch. There's actually a scenario where if Butch didn't find another basic Pokemon with 2 energies there on that Buzzwole GX, if
And
Isaac
the strong in hand.
Yeah, and the strong in hand, if he was able to, you know, get all those cards in play and move this Sudowoodo, could have used Absorption GX to potentially win this game with a Choice Band. But, you know, since Isaac did put that Brooklet Hill in play, Butch will be able to use it and get that Wailord EX out.
Yeah, he knew what he had to do. There's no point, even if he's looking to change up the stadium, may as well get a Wailord in nice and early. Just to make sure that, hey, you've got 2, so if you are going to be ace rollering or AZing, you know, you're not just going to be left empty-handed.
He does have that Tropical Beach in his hand. That is definitely huge. Oh, and a Plumeria to combo with it, discarding a Lusamine and another Tropical Beach. That is just a really solid first hand from Butch. He'll be able to draw more cards because he discarded cards with Plumeria, and he also gets one of his 2 Lusamine into the discard pile, meaning that he'll be able to get that Lusamine chain going.
Yeah, and he does force, you know, the option from Isaac there that he has to manually attach to start this turn. Is going to be the basic energy, so none played of the strong just yet. Maybe saving that for a rainy day when he can actually take a knockout.
Yeah, definitely. I think Isaac is going to try to keep those strong energies out of play until he's going to actually be attacking, be it with Jet Punch or Absorption or Knuckle Impact. He's going to just kind of try to hold off until that scenario comes up.
Yeah, it's the only real safe way for him to do it, I think. Otherwise, he's just going to, like game 1, lose them very quickly with Enhanced Hammer.
So we're going to see each of these players drawing 6 cards. Isaac can use Butch's Tropical Beach to maybe draw a card if he's not going to attack this turn. There's a Brooklet Hill actually going to replace that stadium. Butch has 2 in his discard pile now, so that is definitely something that could be an issue, trying to find another one, unless he finds like a Skyla or Lusamine to get it back.
Yeah, the Lusamine is certainly an option for him here. Do see he's holding an Enhanced Hammer in hand. Looks like there's 1 puzzle, maybe 2. They're paired up there. It is 2 puzzles. 2
puzzles at a time can definitely find the Tropical Beach, but Butch does have 7 cards in his hand currently, so might want to save double puzzle until he's going to, you know, get more value out of Tropical Beach and drawing more cards than just a couple. But I guess he could use those puzzles, find Plumeria and Tropical Beach. That would get him the stadium in play, let him discard one of these energies once again on this Buzzwole GX.
Yeah, keep it down. If you're not going to be able to find your Team Flag grunts just yet, use whatever you can at that point.
So there's the 2 puzzles. We'll see what he opts for. I think this will go for a Tropical Beach and probably the Plumeria, honestly. And yeah, it looks like that's what he's eyeing up. Can use Plumeria to thin his hand size down once again.
Get the maximum value out of his beach.
Trying to draw as many cards as possible. We'll see him discard an Enhanced Hammer. Interesting card to see hit the discard pile, but he does play 4 copies of it. And going to discard a Skyla as well. Tropical Beach can now draw him up to a total of 7 cards.
Nice, that's a big draw. And, you know, chances are he might just find another Enhanced Hammer in there. It does get the Tropical Beach off that draw as well, so won't need to find it, you know, with the double puzzle next time.
Yeah, so 2 of those fighting energies now in Isaac's discard pile. Gonna want to... Ooh, there's the Counter Stadium once again getting rid of that Tropical Beach. Can use the Brooklet Hill to maybe get out something like a Diancie to do a little more damage. See what he gets here. Looks like that is what it's going to be.
Prism Star.
That Princess's Cheer's ability just so good in these Buzzwole decks.
Yeah, I mean, if this Brooklet Hill gets discarded, that's it. That's Brooklet Hill done for the game.
Yeah.
Butch doesn't need anything else. Isaac maybe wants a couple more things, but, you know, we did see Butch draw off his Tropical Beach draw the extra Tropical Beach, so he will just be able to replace it and then have complete control of the stadiums for the duration of this game.
Yeah, and actually interesting, like, I guess Butch could use this Tropical Beach to get his 4th Wailord EX in play. He doesn't really mind doing that. Wailord wouldn't really be in any serious danger of getting knocked out by Dangerous Rogue unless Isaac was to get multiple strong energies on his Lycanroc GX. And if that was the case, I'm sure Butch would be able to draw one of his 4 AZs to remove that potential threat of that extra damage from Wailord being on the bench. So we may see him just get a Wailord down on the bench so he is drawing into better cards with things like the Tropical Beach and not drawing into the Wailord whenever he doesn't want it.
Right, and thinning out the deck is something talked about with Brent earlier. It's such an essential skill on making sure that all your draws are more valuable.
We're going to see the Colress here, only 4 cards off of this.
That is by definition a poor Colress.
Maybe Isaac could have left the Tropical Beach in play so that he could use it this turn, but opted to get out that Brooklet Hill. I guess really wanted to get that Diancie in play. And we're just going to have to see here, what do these 4 cards yield him? Does he find a supporter for the next turn? And maybe even some energy cards.
I think the energies would be very, very helpful for him. Oh, he's got a Strong. That's going to help.
Yeah, that definitely is something that could be helpful. If he gets a Guzma next turn, could take a knockout on a Wailord on Butch's bench. So Guzma plus an energy at least. And it looks like we're just going to have to see a pass over to Butch's side. Isaac has a Remoraid in his hand. I wouldn't have hated to see him bench it because that means he could top deck an Ultra Ball or Artillery, and that could help draw him some cards maybe because maybe he wants to be a little aggressive and try to get those knockouts.
Yeah, I think he's playing it very, very safe though, and basically deciding, hey, if I'm just going to be Abyssal handing every turn, I'm contributing to the deck out. So no need for that at this juncture.
Gosh, and we see Via Seeker once again for Plumeria. Plumeria just being so strong here. 3 of those basic fighting energies now in the discard pile. And, Isaac is probably going to want to find his super out at some point in this game. And the 3rd Tropical Beach does come out as well.
Yeah, we do see no 4th Wailord grabbed, so it might be prized. When he went through the first couple of Brooklets, it's chances are prized.
Yeah, it looks like he either prized it or maybe is just opting not to get it. Maybe saying, I want to make sure I don't have too many bench Pokemon. Maybe trying to avoid a potential of a Dangerous Rogue coming out. It's pretty unlikely still, but, Butch just saying, why not play around it? And I think Butch knows he's kind of in a good position here in this one.
Yeah.
Ooh, Enhanced Hammer immediately comes out, discards that strong energy. If he has a Plumeria to combo with this, will actually just get rid of all those energy on Isaac's side of the field. Isaac has not even attacked here in this game 2 yet.
No, he's been trying to power up this Buzzwole for a real big hit. But he just keeps falling short. It doesn't get there when he needs it.
Seems like Butch has always had the answer that he needs to get rid of that energy. Just a pass. Looks like he has 7 or more cards in his hand already. And we're going to have to see here what else Isaac can do. Tough spot for sure. Max Elixir comes out. Let's see if this hits. 5, 6. Does it hit?
No. Look at all those beast rings so longingly, but they're just not going to work this game.
He's maybe thinking like, come on, Butch, just let me play 1 beast ring. Give me 1 chance. Let me maybe just get 1 knockout.
A freebie beast ring.
Not going to work, though. The rules of the game don't quite work like that.
I'm sure the judges would not appreciate that.
Definitely not. And, man, it is just a tough go here for Isaac. What else can he really do? Like, he hasn't even attacked this game, not even getting any jet punches out. Doesn't want to open himself up to Team Flare Grunts, I suppose. Man, Butch has just been able to really, have an answer to everything Isaac has done so far in his turns.
Yeah, and the things that get really tough as well, when Butch has got all the energy discarded off Isaac's side of the field, then he can just start playing around with Team Rocket's handiwork.
Yeah, and Team Rocket's handiwork, of course, can discard energy cards as well. Looks like we're having a little bit of a discussion here over at the table. Not sure what's going on, but I think everything should be okay.
Yeah, making sure that I think everything was played out properly. Nothing wrong with a good little judge checking in on things.
Yeah, better safe than sorry in a lot of these instances. We've seen some things happen before in games where, game states get broken because of, accidents that were missed by judges. And so judges just, being very diligent here, and just another testament to how strong this judge staff has been this weekend.
Yeah, I think they were maybe checking for a supporter to see if one had been played, just because they were only going through the top couple. Just before Isaac played the N, we know that shuffling in with an N was improper play is, that's naughty.
That is definitely a way to get a game loss really fast, playing 2 supporters in 1 turn, one of them being in, breaking the game state completely, but, just making sure that hadn't happened, and Isaac had not played a supporter yet this turn.
Yeah, that's what we like to see, good clean play from the players.
Absolutely. So we'll see off of these 6 cards. Still no knockout taken for Isaac. Definitely tough for him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, He's struggling to set it up for the Absorption GX. He's not even getting close to the Absorption GX at this point due to the amount of discarding of the energy that we've seen.
And Isaac has just been really conservative here, really trying to wait for that big turn where he can go Guzma plus energy absorption. But, honestly, looking at it, maybe it would be better if he brought up Buzzwole and just started trying to apply some sort of pressure. As we see, Butch here is going to go for the Gladion and have access to any of those 6 supporter cards that he wants to grab. Or, excuse me, any of those 6 prize cards using the supporter card that he wants to grab.
It's just one of those times where you think, there's something in there that I might want a little way down the line. Something like a Rocket's Handiwork would be nice to pull out of there. Be in a good position to use that, I think, right now. He's in no immediate threat. There's not enough energy to really, blow up next turn if you're Isaac. So
yeah,
it's a little bit dicey.
So we see those 6 prize cards laid back out. I did see a VS Seeker in his prizes. I'm not sure if that's the card he ended up taking, but I'm sure it was some sort of powerful trainer card like that. Gladion is just super useful in Wailord, able to use it to, if one of your 2 Lusamine is prized, you need both of those Lusamine to get that chain going of getting multiple, Team Flare Grunts back, getting back here Tropical Beaches, Rough Seas against specific matchups, so Gladion is useful to find that. Actually, Butch, I think on his winning end, played against a Night March player who didn't play Hex Maniac, and as we know, Butch does play that Xurkitree with the Flashing Head ability, so... because of that, the Night March player was actually unable to take a knockout. I think Butch did prize that Xurkitree one of those games, but Gladion was able to get it out for him.
Absolutely essential. Being able to pull those out really, really helps you. We do see one of those VS Seekers played. He's going to grab the Lusamine off that and I think play it immediately while he's in there.
I think he got a Plumeria with it and discarded some more energy
cards.
That was
it, the Plumeria.
Just used Tropical Beach to end his turn off and, draw a couple cards. And over on Isaac's side, no energy in his hand at the moment. He does have a Guzma, so he's got one piece of this potential combo, but, man, it's just going to be a pass. Skyla here. Butch going to check the discard pile first, see what he wants to maybe get out of the deck. And he's going to check here with Skyla. What does he grab? Maybe getting a Lusamine so he can just get that Lusamine chain going and start being aggressive with things like Team Rocket's Handiwork.
Yeah, that's what he's probably trying to play out this game. He's actually not played one yet.
Nope.
But if you can hit the Lusamine and Team Rocket's Handiwork chain over and over again, particularly while you're in absolutely no danger of being knocked out, you're really going to quickly push Isaac through his deck.
Yeah, and what we might see here, maybe Butch has the Team Rocket's Handiwork in his hand already, but, using the Skyla to grab Lusamine will let him next turn go Lusamine for Lusamine and Skyla. Then on the next turn he can go Skyla for Handiwork. Then he has Lusamine and Handiwork in his hand, which is what he is going to want to do. So
yeah.
Isaac does attach an energy and just pass, so might change the supporter Butch wants to play. I think he'll value Plumeria over Lusamine or Team Rocket's Handiwork if he has access to the Plumeria. We'll see what he grabs, though.
Can see that Enhanced Hammer's just waiting for any strong energy.
He's almost daring Isaac to put a strong energy, a special energy in play, saying, I'm just going to get rid of it right away. Lusamine here is going to get the second Lusamine, and looks like it is going to be that Skyla, so maybe Butch is going to try to set up that play I was talking about where now he'll be able to go Skyla for Handiwork, and then he has the Lusamine that he needs in his hand as well as the Handiwork, and wow, Isaac just goes draw and pass immediately.
Yeah, he knows. If it's not an energy, then he can't do anything with it.
So we'll see if he goes for Skyla here. Could use that to get Handiwork. Actually, might
he could use the comp search for it too.
Yeah, comp search would mean he gets the aggression one turn earlier, is able to start using that Handiwork right away. Could maybe even see actually going to be a Lusamine. Maybe he wants to get the Plumeria back with this to have options to discard that energy next turn. Looks like that's his option.
Right, I think the other option, we talk about him decking him out, he could literally just run him out of energy.
Wow, just a draw pass from Isaac. You can see it just not really having a good time here, I don't think. We're going to see a computer search come out. Gets rid of an Acerola. That nice full art Acerola there. Going to also discard that Skyla. And probably going to I would bet get a Team Rocket's Handiwork, but maybe he's thinking of something else. We'll see what he grabs.
Yep, it is going to be the Handiwork right there, I believe. That should start up with this nice little loop chain.
Yep, and he's got it going. Can't play Rocket's Handiwork. Has already played Skyla for a supporter this turn, so I think the judge is catching that real fast. Cannot play Team Rocket's Handiwork. Making sure the judge does catch that. He's got it face up. I think we should be good, though. I think we should be good.
Yeah, I think what he's doing is he's just showing what it is. Just making sure that that's all okay. But that has to start next turn. But once you hit that, you're really in there.
Yeah, it's going into the discard pile. Cannot play that. Maybe Butch announced that he was playing it on accident, and there could be a potential prize penalty here for a double supporter. But that Team Rocket's handiwork should be in his hand and not in the discard pile, and I think our judges are going to get that fixed right away.
Yeah.
Just talking through everything, making sure things are sorted out. Want to make sure everything goes off cleanly here in the top 4. And that Team Rocket's handiwork, once again, should be in Butch's hand, not in the discard pile where it is right now. So let's make sure we get it. He used Skyla to get the Team Rocket's handiwork, so it should be in his hand.
He computer searched.
Oh, he did computer search. That's right. So that is actually going to be my mistake. I apologize, guys. And double heads on it. Gets rid of 2 energies. Wow.
Oh, those energies that Isaac's been searching for.
Oh, my gosh. That's just absolutely devastating for Isaac. And just another pass. Once again, Butch has a complete lock up and going. Looks like Lucamine is just going to be able to get one of those cards back. Looks like maybe that pink slip is what we've been using this weekend to denote a prize penalty. So we'll try to figure out if there's been a prize penalty given. Not sure. It looks like the pink slip usually...
There's a pink slip on the stream. It's not a firing, but it is what numbers would be considered a prize penalty. Here comes another handiwork.
Gonna flip 1 tails and a heads there. Can discard 2 cards. Floatstone going down. That is an important card as well.
And the B-string.
Ooh.
B-string. That's fine.
Isaac's like, that's fine. I'll let you get rid of that one, but I think he would have liked Floatstone.
Okay, so confirmation on that pink slip that we saw. It's a double prize penalty on the Waylord for insufficient shuffling.
Yeah, we've had a shuffling judge here on the stream all weekend. Someone just watching to make sure everything goes accordingly. Here in top 4, just want to make sure everything is played out cleanly. Maybe they're, might be skipping past that warning stage. And I'm sure this just kind of happens, right? Butch is doing so much shuffling from searching his deck. Maybe he's just trying to get a quick shuffle in. Judge just wants to make sure that it's totally sufficient. And looks like we see Karina here going to search the deck, get a Super Rod. Super Rod will let him get back 3 of those basic fighting energies.
Right, those are what he needs. But there's no point putting them in if they're just going to get handiworked away.
So this actually leads to an interesting scenario as well. To the rule about if time is called in game number 2, the rules state that the player has to have taken 50% of their prize cards they need to take to win the game. So Isaac only needs to take 4 prize cards to win the game at this point. But that means that in order to win according to those specific rules, if he just takes 3 prize cards, he'll have taken more than 50% of his prize cards for the game, and that would mean he would be resulted as the winner in the match. But,
and then we get the sudden death.
Yes. There's a lot of different moving pieces here, but I'm sure Butch is going to avoid benching that 1 prize Oranguru, and that's the only 1 prize Pokemon in his deck. So, I don't think Isaac is going to ever have the opportunity to go to just 3 prize cards.
Yeah, he's going to play the double puzzle this turn, so he's going to be able to grab his computer search once again, and... looks like he's taking the handiwork.
So he's going to get handiwork plus computer search. Looks like he's going to play the computer search first. See what this grabs. Maybe could have gotten a Plumeria with that to just keep this energy out of play for Isaac.
Right.
But maybe at this point he knows Isaac's deck is a little thin. Maybe he has higher chances of discarding energy by going for something like the Team Rocket's handiwork, funny enough.
Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty reasonable, just trying to get through it that way. With it so thin and 3 of them in there, hey, if you can discard 4 if you hit a double heads, great news. You're probably going to discard an energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to see Team Skull Grunt actually here. Going to look at Isaac's hand and can discard up to 2 energy cards he finds there. No energy cards in that hand, but wow, look at all those supporters. Lots of really powerful cards, but nothing that's going to do Isaac any good here right now.
I think he knew that there was no energy in there. He just wanted to have a Butcher's in Isaac's hand.
Yeah.
Butch had a Butcher's.
Yes. Butch just wanted to have a look, I think. And and he top decks the energy this turn. Butch is like, man, really? You just got the top deck? I just played my Skull Grunt. But now we could have that turn where...
Doesn't matter.
Gosh,
does not matter.
Just gets discarded anyway. Team Rocket's handiwork here. We see 1 heads. Oh, and a 2nd heads. Wow.
1, 2, 3, and... 2 Elixir, which was such a thin deck. And those 3 basics he put back in would have been huge.
That is demoralizing for Isaac. That is just almost the nail in the coffin in this game. Isaac hasn't even attacked yet. You gotta feel so bad for Isaac, but we just see the disruption of Waylord coming out. Looks like he's got just over 10 or 15 or so cards in his deck, so not quite over yet.
Is.
He does get another energy, so he can get that out, but I mean, we haven't even seen any of the healing cards from Butch yet. So if Isaac does start to, pressure with jet punches, he can still use those healing cards like Max Potion, like Acerola and AZ. I think Butch has this game in the bag.
Yeah, he's just going to keep pulling back. Whichever supporter he needs for that turn, he's just going to keep on going with it. Looks like, there's a Tails.
It's actually kind of funny, I mean, Butch is in a position where maybe he could have used that.
There's two of them.
Oh, no, double fighting energy there, discarded on the handiwork. That is so bad. Butch is in a position where, potentially he could have used Plumeria with that VS Seeker, but maybe he's saying, I just want to get this game finished. I want to, not have to, worry about this as much anymore. I'm going to just use this handiwork. And yeah, Isaac, oh my gosh, just going to go ahead and concede. He's out of energy cards. He can't get an attack off.
Yeah, he literally has one basic and a beast energy left.
Oh, man. Prized one of his energy. That's definitely unfortunate. Oh my gosh. We've got Wailord going to the finals here of the Roanoke Regional Championships.
Wailord all the way. I know some people talk about it at every expanded event. They say, who's playing Wailord, who hates fun? But hey, if it's going to net you a minimum of $2,500, that is what you want to be seeing.
Yeah, and we could see Wailord swimming away with $5,000 at the end of the day today. That would be pretty crazy. Wailord, to my knowledge, has not ever won a major event. I believe the best finish for it was at 2015 U.S. Nationals, where Enrique Avila took it to a second-place finish against Jason Klasinski. And, I think Butch is looking to make history here, taking down the finals here in Roanoke.
Well, it's the last expanded event of the season
That's
here
right.
in North America, so why not show off your Wailord all the way? I know the other top four match, I believe, has concluded.
Has it?
Haven't
Okay.
seen any confirmation on that. So Xander moving on.
Okay, so it looks like we're going to have Xander Pero against Butch Smith here in the finals. We're going to probably get that rolling here pretty quickly, so stay tuned, guys. Finals is coming up very, very shortly.